Federal Ministry of Agri is also one of our major supporters. They actually provide funding for our research activities. And we are presently also partnering with Pro Cashew, which is a CNFA project, where we are working with them alongside development of the new planting material, which is novel. I must mention this in Nigeria, because prior now we have always categorized our planting material based on nut size of jumbo, of madras, of medium, of large, of Brazilian or Indian origin. But we are certain in another few years, we should be able to have what we can call Nigeria variety of cashew. So, and then recently we enter into an intent with AHK, which are currently working together with, we are currently working together with them to achieve some of the objectives of cashew value chain in production in Nigeria. So, and we have worked across all the geopolitical zones in Nigeria, from the north to the west, the south, and the east. These are places where we provide technical support for farmers. So in brief, that is what we do, among other things, in Cocoa Research Institute of Nigeria. Thank you very much. Yeah, thank you, Ellen.
Yeah, thank you so much. Mr. Okorafor, would you like to start with your presentation and your experience about the cashew post-harvest loss?
You are muted.
Okorafor, you are muted.
Yeah, I removed that. Yeah, good morning. Hello, good morning.
Yeah, good morning. So,
Okay,
Mr. Okorafor, you have
yes.
20 minutes to tell us what you do.
Yes, my name is Oke Okorafor, the CEO of Mangrove Farms Limited. Since 2014, and recently the chairman of Cashew Producers Group of National Cashew Association of Nigeria. We are into cashew value chain development. We started this in 2014. We started with the desire to turn around idle cashew assets in the southeast. There are a significant number of them in Enugu State and Abia State. Enugu State has almost 1,000 hectares of cashew plantation, most of it idle, owned by government. And Abia State has almost 200 hectares of cashew plantations, most of them idle and owned by state government. They were established in 1953. And since then, we've been trying to redevelop them. We are going to present we're going to make our presentation in this format. We'll first of all let the audience know what a cashew is, then describe the value chain, and then talk about the losses in the value chain, and then zero in on the post-harvest losses, and then suggest necessary mitigation efforts that should be deployed. And then where we are in Nigeria, and then we proceed to talk about our company, our journey, and our challenges, which I believe will not be clear to us.
Sorry, participant, kindly mute. If you are not on speaker, kindly mute.
Yeah, just a minute here. Let me. Okay, I think it's okay. The phone is now on vibration.
Thank you.
Yeah. So we'll talk about our journey and then our challenges in our efforts to turn around the fortune of the cashew industry, especially in the southeast. The cashew crop, of course, is a tropical tree crop. It does not grow anywhere else except in the tropics. that it's consumed all over the world. So what that means is that we have an opportunity to provide the world a major nutritional ingredient. It's ideally developed in the plantations, preferably on a very large scale. It starts producing in 3 years after nursery and starts yielding optimally about 8 years, and by 35 years, the yield drops drastically. This explains why the situation in the southeast, where the plants are over 65 years old, needs urgent attention. Production is seasonal. It yields within a very narrow window of about 4 months every year. And since it's a tropical crop, part of the production areas are in the northern hemisphere, and the rest are in the southern hemisphere. So they produce at different times of the year. As we go down, you see the impact of this on the supply chain. The products of value you can get out of cashew range from the fruit and even the wood. The fruit has two components: the apple and the nut. All over the world, in most other regions, both components are put to very good use. But in Nigeria today, the effort is still concentrated on the nut. Most of the apple is wasted. The apple can be consumed whole or fresh, processed into alcohol or non-alcohol beverages, and processed into jam. It can also be used as animal feed, especially for cattle. The nut is eaten edible when processed. You cannot eat the nut when raw. You need to process it to extract the kernels before you can take it. The kernel, when processed, can be further processed into cashew meal, a substitute for dairy products, and cashew butter. It can also be used as spices to so many dishes all over the world. The cashew wood, is a good product for raw material for the production of timber, for construction, and floor tiles, mostly in the temperate climate. The cashew value chain consists of activities from the plantation down to the table. The value chain can be very long, as it is in Nigeria today, and can be very short, as you may find in key processing countries that also produce the raw cashew nuts. Nigeria is essentially a production country with minimum processing. So the value chain is very long in Nigeria. It starts in Nigeria and then ends somewhere in India or Vietnam. This is very, very problematic, as you see as we go down the slides. Losses in the value chain, as you would expect, losses would occur at every stage of the value chain. But the focus today is on post-harvest losses. So we're going to delve into that as much as possible. The post-harvest losses arise as a result of market forces, produce quality, inherent produce vulnerabilities, and then the knowledge gap in post-harvest handling of the produce. We'll discuss about this in greater details. The market forces. These include price shock originating from the final consumer, because as of course, the essence of the value chain is to provide service to the final consumer. Price shock originating from the processor, because for the final consumer to have access to the produce, it has to be processed. Nobody takes raw cashew nut. Then uninformed market speculation. Of course, losses could arise as it did in 2018 when the price was very high. In 2017, in 2018, merchants expected that the upward price trend was going to continue. So when there was an initial shock, they expected it was going to be very temporary, that the price was going to bounce back, but it never did. And the result was that players in the value chain sustained significant losses. Alternative supply sources to processors. Of course, like I mentioned earlier, Nigeria is not the only producer of raw cashew nuts. Most other countries in the tropics produce raw cashew nuts. Those in the northern hemisphere have their harvest season at a different time from those in the southern hemisphere. When the end of one harvest season is the beginning of another. So if you lose your own window, then merchants go to the current producing area, and that could lead to a lot of losses. Poor produce quality leading to rejection, and that's a major issue, especially in Nigeria, and especially in the southeast Nigeria. Everywhere else is ahead of the southeast Nigeria. The plantations in the southeast are too old, 65 years old, of very archaic variety, improper harvesting techniques, weather and unusual early rains. Of course, if you have unusual early rains during the harvest season, that impacts the quality of your produce. Inadequate sun drying. This is a knowledge issue and the willingness of people to do the right thing. Use of bags of inappropriate material. If you store your harvested nuts in nylon bags, you're going to have problems with the quality. Deliberate sharp practices by middlemen. We saw this between 2017 and 2018, when the market value of the produce was very high. Inherent produce vulnerability. Of course, the harvest and selling window is very narrow. By the time your window expires, you are unable to sell because buyers have a fresher product to buy from somewhere else. Of course, they discussed about knowledge gap.
No, they took at all. Okay.
Elechi, can you please mute?
Yes, yes. Hello.
Elechi, can you please mute yourself? Thank you. Go on, please.
Yeah. With respect to knowledge gap, its contribution to losses, post-harvest losses in Nigeria, it's very, very important to note that other than the raw cashew nut, everything else we have that comes out of the cashew tree is wasted in Nigeria as at today. The apple is wasted, except for the very small proportion that is eaten raw and fresh. And another major component of the raw cashew, the cashew nut shell liquid, is also completely wasted in Nigeria. Of establishment of rock processing factories very close to the producing areas, exporting them to India and China. China introduces very undesirable components and very weak points in the value chain. If you establish your processing factory very close to the raw material, you shave off too many costs in the value chain. For instance, Indians and Vietnamese that import raw cashew nuts from Nigeria incur an additional cost of about $600 a ton. If you had a factory close to your raw material base, just like we are trying to do, you save this cost. And establishment of factories, processing factories has to be private sector driven. The government has to provide, make a data enabling environment for that. A major component of that is to ease the access to institutional finance. If you establish a processing factory close to your raw material base, you reduce the raw material costs. You reduce the long chain of players. You disengage the middlemen, and possibly encourage to invest in more productive segments of the value chain, like either production or processing. Given today's world and advances in technology, you do not really need anybody to do marketing for you. Processors can establish direct contact with the farmers who produce the produce, and enter into medium to long-term alliances with such parties instead of dealing with the middlemen that really do not add value in the value chain in today's world. To address poor quality issues, government should, in partnership with Nigerian Cashew Association, National Cashew Association of Nigeria, facilitate support to credible private sector investments in partnership with rural communities that will lead to replanting and redevelopment of aged plantations with new improved varieties. This is particularly relevant in the Southeast. Development of large-scale new plantations. Yes, we inherited a total of about 1,000 hectares of cashew plantations from 1955. We need a lot more. And the potential, the opportunity is there. For instance, in Nigeria today, only about 1% of our land mass is committed to the development of cashew. We could do a lot more. Brazil has 4%.
Okay, Mr. Okay. Can you please round up?
Yes, where we are today in Nigeria, we are very far behind. This is where the growth opportunity is in the development of the cashew value chain, which is in high demand globally. Our company has been on this since 2014. Our focus is raw cashew nut processing for export. You can take a look at our profile in the link provided on the slide. These are our team members, myself, Elechi, who has just joined us, Victor Woye, and then Indian expatriate factory managers and technicians. Our target is like we mentioned, production and processing. We target about $1.5 million revenue in the first year of operating the plant. This does not include expected revenue from production.
Thank you, Mr. Okay.
Yeah.
I hope we are true.
I'm not quite, but perhaps the rest we will bring up during the discussion session.
Thank you so much. That's a great one from Mr. Okorafor from Mangrove Farms. Thanks so much for the beautiful presentation. So, to participants, kindly note your questions. By the time we get to the Q&A session, we'll take all of that together. And you can also put your questions on the chat platform so that we can respond as appropriate. Thank you. I hope Mr. Matthew from Export Promotion Council is set to have the floor. Mr. Matthew, can you unmute?
Yes, I hear you and I'm set.
Beautiful. Please, let's have your presentation.
Here, right?
Let's have your presentation, please. Go ahead with your presentation.
Are you seeing my slide?
Yes.
Hello, can you see my slide?
Yes, go ahead.
Okay. Again, good morning to everybody in the house.
You can put it on the slideshow. Please go ahead.
All right, good morning to everybody. My name is Mr. Emmanuel Matthew. I'm standing in for my director, Mr. William Ezagu, who is the Director of Product Development Department, Nigerian Export Promotion Council. Today we are talking about a very interesting product, which is cashew. And this cashew is one of the very essential agri-commodities in Nigeria. And for the fact that cashew provide a means of livelihood for thousands of families in Nigeria. It also promotes, a good well-being of our people, empower the community, and also, help to increase the Nigerian foreign exchange earnings. So cashew is very important to us as a nation. Nigeria have gained substantially from cashew exports in the few years past. For instance, in 2015 to 2017, Nigeria made over 280 billion US dollars from cashew exports. Sorry, Naira. And that has increased substantially. For 2020 alone, during the COVID year, for 9 months, the first 9 months, Nigeria made about 40 billion Nigerian Naira from cashew export. And that contributed to 26% of the total agricultural export from Nigeria. From the few statistics, we can see that cashew outside cocoa and sesame seed is another very important export commodity in Nigeria. Like the first speaker said, Nigerians have not harnessed the potential of cashew effectively, because looking at the products in the cashew value chain, the apple, that is the fresh cashew, is very, very underutilized. Apart from the nuts, the processing, Nigeria has a very low capacity in processing, and that is a very big challenge for us as a nation. Now, like I said, cashew is very important and critical commodity to Nigeria, produced in over 29 states, including the FCT. That is to show that a lot of our people engage in cashew, which in some parts of the country is like a traditional occupation that is let down, transfer from generation to generation. And that is why it's important for the government and the industrialists and business people to key into the development of the cashew value chain, because of the multiply effect that it has in our economy. Today we are talking about post-harvest loss. And statistics have shown that over 70 billion Naira is
Matthew,
lost.
sorry that I break you, but please, can you change your slide, because we only see your first slide. You didn't change it.
Yeah, and you have barely 10 minutes more.
Okay, maybe network. Yes.
Your slide is not moving.
It's not coming. Are you seeing it now?
Yeah, it's just moving now. Go ahead.
Okay, you are seeing it clearly. Okay, I
Yes.
continue. Because cashew is cultivated in over 29 states, including the FCT in Nigeria, it's very important for us as a nation, government, and private individual to develop in the cashew value chain. Today, we are talking about the post-harvest loss. Like I said, Nigerians have not fully announced the potential in the cashew industry because of the enormous loss that we have recorded from the post-harvest, activities. Now, if you look at the cashew value chain from the harvesting, like the first speaker said, up to the market end of the cashew value chain, that is getting the cashew down to the table, a lot of things, activities happen, and loss is recorded in each of these stages. For instance, in the harvesting, we have a practice where the local farmers, maybe because of market speculations and price, the speculation for changes in price, people rushed to pluck cashew by using stick to hit the cashew on the tree. And the result is having both the ripe cashew and the unripe falling. Even the flowers are also cut off from the tree. So this practice is not good enough for us. It caused a loss in the industry. We also have a situation where poor varieties of cashew, and for Nigerian Export Promotion Council, we have been, helping our farmers, assisting them with CRIN, Cocoa Research Institute of Nigeria. We have been partnering and collaborate with other stakeholders to provide improved varieties of cashew to farmers. But that is not enough. So poor varieties also cause a very important role there. Now we are suggesting a way out, that farmers should obtain the high yield cashew, and the practice of rushing to pluck cashew from the tree, should be curtailed. In some communities, we have where the community leaders and opinion dealers, they just give instruction that people should not practice this age-long method of plucking cashew. It has really caused a huge loss in our cashew industry. Now, the drying process. Drying process is another key issue. Now, we know that the drying of cashew is by spraying the nuts on the mats, on the backs, but there should be a platform. But the practice we have in most of our community is that some of these cashew are spread fine and good on the mat, but this mat there is no platform, or sometimes they also spread it on the bare floor, and this causes damage to the nuts because of the water that is absorbed from drawn from the ground. It causes moisture, and it also have molds on the cashew nut. So this is not a good practice, and it causes a serious loss in the industry. In the processing, we also have an issue in the processing. Nigerian capacity to process cashew is quite low. And like we know, about 80% of our cashew is exported in a raw form. That is a raw nuts, in the raw nuts. So the processing also have to be improved. Now we have in Nigeria, we have issue with the availability of technicians in the industry, people that have the capacity and the skill, to qualified technicians who has the capacity and the skill. Even when there is a machine, sometimes the machines, had issue. And when that happens, in most cases, we get to Vietnam to get the technicians to repair the machine. And this is it has a huge cost on the industry and eventually the cost of the product that is exported. So in this instance now, we have a loss in the processing, stage of cashew. And in the processing system, we have 3 processing systems basically. That is the manual processing system, the semi-mechanized, and the fully mechanized. But what we have more as a practice in this our country, in Nigeria, is manual processing. Manual processing may be effective in terms of having the full nuts, but in terms of the outturn, in terms of the producing in the quantity that we want, so that we can, make progress as a cashew producing country, we need to blend the 2 processes and come to a balance. So because the cashew processing itself is dominated by the small scale processors that lack knowledge, the competence, the skill, and the capacity to process it in the standard and quality that is required in the international market sustainably and to remain competitive in the international market space. Nigerians record huge loss in the processing stage of cashew value chain. The reason being that when we do it manually, we may have the whole nuts, but the capacity to process it on time is not there. And what is left over sometimes allowed to be grown with mold. Because this thing is left.
Mr. Martin?
I'm hearing you.
Can you please round up in 3 minutes?
Yes, I'm coming. I will do that. I will do that. So because we are not efficient in processing, so we have a loss in this stage. And like the first speaker said, there are a lot of opportunities in the cashew value chain. Because of time, I may not dwell in that. And looking at the various products that cashew, we can process cashew into, and for us to export and earn foreign exchange for Nigeria, we are lacking behind in this aspect. And that is also a loss for Nigeria. So for those of us who are very new, especially our audience that don't know us as organization, Nigerian Export Promotion Council is a federal government agency to promote the development of and diversification of export products in Nigeria. We have our function there, and there are some intervention that as a council we have implemented. And those programs are there. We have helped the cashew operators. We have helped to train them, build their capacity. Like I said, the input, we have provided input, the seed, the varieties of seed to improve their production. And we are hopeful and believe that as government continue to intervene in the cashew sector and others, private individuals coming in to invest in the cashew value chain, Nigeria will make progress not only in being a major producer of cashew, where we will also be those among those in the first 2 exporting countries. Thank you very much.
Yeah, amazing. That was a great one from Mr. Matthew, standing in for Mr. Isegu of the Export Promotion Council. Thanks so much for the presentation. And again, thank you to Mr. Okorafor for the well-delivered seminar. Thank you so much. It's a great time with you. You have really spoken into the topic of the day. Yeah, Elian, can we proceed to Q&A?
Yes, I think there are 3 questions in the
Beautiful.
chat box. Yes.
Please bring them up.
Yeah, the first one is for Mr. Matthew. With the importance of cashew, what is done to bridge knowledge gap in Nigeria? Mr. Matthew?
Okay, can you hear me?
Yes.
Can you hear me?
Yes, I can hear you.
Yes, Nigerian Export Promotion Council, like I said, is a government agency created to develop the non-oil export, the promotion of non-oil exports. Nigerians, as we know, as I said earlier, have cashew as a major exportable product. But with the huge knowledge gap we have identified, we may not go far as a nation if we don't do capacity building, to raise the competence and the knowledge of the practitioners, the operators in the value chain on what is happening in the international market space. So we have done a lot of training programs across the operators in the value chain. Like I mentioned, we have partnered with CREAM and other research institutes that have the mandate to promote cashew industry. We have trained them. We have also built what we call a common facility, common processing center. The idea is to allow the small processors to share the common technologies that will help them to process their cashew to the standard that is required in the international market. So we run series of training programs for operators. We go to the field and see what they are doing. We bring them together. We allow them to share their experience. Both the exporters and the producers, we bring them together also on the roundtable to interface and engage. And as we speak also, Nigerian Export Promotion Council had a program with CBI that we brought in the SMEs who are into some selected agro commodities, cashew being one of them. And we train them on the value chain development and also in market presentation. And as I speak, the numbers of them are also they are major players in the international market space. Thank you.
Yeah, Elian, can I do a little addition?
Yes, of course.
Yeah, Mr. Matthew has really bear out a good attempt on the question, and I'm glad we work together as CREAM and NAPC because a number of gaps have been identified across the cashew value chain, from the production to the farm practices to the post-harvest handlings. Even sourcing of planting material is a big challenge. Even planting distance is a big challenge. Skills in vegetative propagation is a big challenge. So a lot of gap actually exists. And as a research institute with mandate of cashew, we have done a lot of capacity building, but a lot more still needs to be done. There's a lot of cashew farmers in Nigeria that we can cover even in 5-10 years. So the capacity building in bridging up the gaps identified needs to continue. And I'm glad that DGIC has come with an idea to work on cashew, especially to develop skills And I'm also glad I've been part of a number of your discussion where these skill gaps has been identified. So what we need to do now is to work at it and make sure that the knowledge gap is bridged so that farmers can have a better output. Thank you.
Okay, thank you for that, Dr. Adeneni. I think we have two more questions in the chat box. How can the younger generation be empowered to go into cashew production? Maybe Mr. Okorafor, would you like to answer it, or?
Please unmute.
Yeah, you are muted, Mr. Okorafor.
Now?
Yes, now we can hear you.
Yeah. This is at the core of our business model for the simple reason that cashew has to be done on a large scale. And in Nigeria today, you need a lot of labor to get that done. And most of the labor you need for that are in the rural areas. For us, the key requirement here is access to finance. We've had several town hall meetings with our community. We made a lot of promises which we cannot fulfill because of lack of access. We have a total of 300 hectares of cashew plantations in 2 communities. And today the youth are ready and willing to come in and work the farm, but we do not have the finance to make it happen. You need finance to source the inputs. You need finance to pay them salary. You need finance to supervise them. So the key thing here is access to finance, in addition to all the efforts Green and the NEPC are making. We've been to Green several times in search of know-how on the plant, on the redevelopment efforts. We've been to NEPC here in Enugu to seek support, but getting finance is a major issue for a private investor like us.
Okay, yes, thank you for that. And one more question. How can stakeholders intervene to help Nigeria policies makers to see the need to increasing the processing of cashew raw materials, especially the apple?
Yeah. Can I talk on that?
Yes, of course.
Okay, yeah. It's not a very good story to tell, going by our own experience. We've been working with finance institutions since 2018 just to raise finance to establish a processing factory here in Enugu. Enugu is a major producing hub of raw cashew nuts. As recently as just 2 weeks ago, we had to escalate our frustrations with the commercial banks to CBN. Nothing is happening. Absolutely nothing is happening. There are no support coming from these institutions. And without supports, financial supports, we're not looking for grant. Without tangible financial support in the form of commercial loan to people like us who are willing to rough it out, nothing happens. So you acquire the knowledge, which we have in our own case. We don't need any further training. If we need training, we know where to go for it. And we will be willing to pay for it. And we are willing to take the risk. But we are not being allowed to take that risk and invest in that sector which NAPC recognizes should be a major cash cow for the Nigerian economy.
Yeah, Elie.
Sorry, can I come in? Okay.
Okay, a quick addition to that.
Can I add something?
Said, A number
So
of farmers even have done a small-scale, hand-operated or motorized juice presser, which they use to press the juice from the apple to a consumable level. And we even encourage, I've met farmers from Ogun State, from Enugu. There's a particular farmer in Eha Alumana in Usuka, very close, who is doing that. But now they have problem in registering that with NAFDAC. And on many occasions, we have even been together where NAFDAC officers are present in a fora, and we discussed this, but we could not resolve. It means that a number of agencies actually need to come together to make things happen. It's good enough that Export Promotion Council has done a lot in the regards of encouraging small and medium scale processor, providing them with training abroad, I'm aware, and then processing locally. But in terms of the apple being processed to juice, even when I feel that these farmers have done so well, they need to be encouraged. They will say, oh, I have this problem with NAFDAC, I have this problem with one, I have this problem with that. So all of these agencies need to come to a round table and see how we can bring improvement into making all of these things work. Because once a farmer is discouraged and you push him aside, there's nothing you do again that he will ever come up. He will better prefer to stay in his low estate than being troubled every time. Thank you.
Yeah, thank you for your...
Can I make contribution?
Yes, please.
Okay, for encouragement of the youth to play a role in the cashew value chain. That for Nigerian Export Promotion Council, we have program focus on youth basically, and that is why a unit is even created to what we call it youth in export development. We have engaged youth for the past 3 years. A special program has been designed for them, and I will encourage Nigerian youth to visit our office. We have office in almost all the states in the federation. To visit our office and get abreast with some of these programs that are designed to to mainstream youth businesses into export market, particularly in the cashew value chain. And we want to also encourage them to form cooperative society, come together as a youth, and this is the way that you can have a strong voice and presentation to government for intervention. And for trying to ensure that government and policy makers key into the development of cashew industry. We continue to do advocacy. We have our zero oil plan, which Nigerian is driving now. Nigerian Export Promotion Council is driving now. In Nigeria, in zero oil plan, cashew is a major product here that is being promoted. And because of this advocacy, a company like Julius Berger of Nigeria have diversified, even from the construction business into cashew processing. As we speak, the company has the biggest cashew processing plant, even in the ECOWAS sub-region. So these are the things we continue to carry out this advocacy. And with the current mantra of the Nigerian Export Promotion Council, which is export for survival, people have begun to key in. And I know that in a few time from now, we will have more people coming to invest in the cashew value chain. Thank you.
Yeah, Elian, do you have more questions from your end?
Yes, there are 2 more questions. Maybe we can go shortly to them. Which support funding programs for cashew farmers are provided by the government?
A lot. Can I come in, Eileen?
Yes, of course.
Yes, there's a lot of it, a host of it on paper. But in real terms, the they are effectively not there. A lot of it. The Anchor Borrowers Program is one of them, which requires that for you to receive support for farming activity, you must have an offtake arrangement with a processor. But it sounds good, but there's a caveat in that program, which requires a commercial bank to take certain risks, which creates a lot of hiccup from our own experience. So the programs are there, but the farmers cannot access them because of these impediments that are inadvertently built into the process.
Yeah, thank you, Mr. Okay. That could be valid, and another is on instances where farmers can even assess the timeliness of release of such support are usually very, very wrong. You know, funding for farming activity is different from funding for every other thing, because we have time that the rain will come, we have time that the rain will stop, and we have time for all farming activities. So when this funding cannot be available at the right time, when farmers need them, then it's a challenge. Of course, there's the possibility of, diverting the money into another thing, and that does not solve the primary problem that is aimed at. So on occasion where farmers can assess, the timeliness is also very important. Anything that has to do with support for agriculture, season must bear in mind, because once you are out of season, for example, we are talking about cashew. Whatever, in another 1 month now, you may not see cashew on the field again. It's gone. The timing, the season is completed. So for you to have any support for farmers targeting cashew, then you should target the season. Once the season is over for the year, then it's another year. And of course, what happens in between? There are a lot of losses. Thank you.
Okay, the time is running, but I think, yeah, we go shortly to the last question. What is the ROI on cashew processing? Who would like to answer it, or who can answer?
LOI?
Yes.
Yeah, what does that mean? It could mean so many things, but in this particular case, what does it mean, LOI?
Adenini, you're asked this question. Maybe you can say us what you mean.
LOR?
ROI, return on investment.
Oh, return on investment.
At this particular instance, return on investment.
It could be as high as 30%. Yeah, did you hear me?
Yes.
ROI could be as high as 30%. Hello?
Yes. The question is, what is the return on investment on cashew processing?
Yeah, did you hear me? Are you hearing me? Yeah, it could be as high as 30%, 30.
It said 30%.
30%, 30%.
Okay. Pretty short answer. Very good. Okay. If there are no more questions, I think the time is running. Yeah, I would like to thank our two speakers for the interesting insights today, and our moderator, Dr. Adenini, for today's moderating the webinar. Yeah, and after that, I will send them all the link to today's presentation, and also, yeah, the whole presentation in the PDF format. And yes, thank you for the great session today. And yeah, I wish you a beautiful day ahead.
Yeah, I'll look for
Yes,
Mr. Okay. Anytime I'm
precise.
interested.
Yes, you don't need. You may not need to wait. You may not need to come here to see me. I will come over to see you.
Oh,
In my new role as the chairman of producers group, I'll need a
okay.
lot of collaboration with you. And in my standing position as somebody who wants to establish a processing factory, who has been making the effort since 2018, having difficulties with accessing finance, I will need to bounce some ideas off you. Yeah,
I will share a mail with you so that you can
yes.
talk to my executive director.
Yes.
Then at the research station level, we can pick it up.
Please, very, very important. We need to network on this. And NAPC, you are my friends. I'll need to come back to you in a matter of days so that we can see how we can dismantle all the obstacles we have on our path towards achieving these objectives that we all share. And that is processing. For now, 5 years down the line, it might be production. But today, the challenge is how to ramp up our processing capacity in Nigeria.
Yeah, absolutely.
All right, thank you. Thank you. You're always available.
Thank you.
Okay. Thank you. Bye.
Thank you for a wonderful time. Have a great day.